Hello, Albertines. How are you all? I hope you all are fine, good, and safe at your home. Welcome for today's science class once again in class 8, chapter number 6, that is combustion and flame. This is a new chapter for you and a new topic, of course, that is combustion and flame. In this topic, we are going to cover these topics. These are combustion, what is combustion, type of combustion, and slow combustion in this, rapid combustion, spontaneous combustion, and even explosion also. Next topic will be in ignition temperature. So what is ignition and what is the ignition temperature, that we will discuss in this. And a type of flame, what is flame and how many type of flames are there, and of course about fuels also, because without fuel flame is not possible. So we all going to study on these topics. We will take them one by one in our class. So first question arises is, what is combustion? Combustion, it is a chemical process in which a substance reacts with oxygen to give out heat is called combustion. So this is the definition that you have to learn. Example, burning of magnesium ribbon can be a very good example if you write it. If you burn a wood also, that again being a very good example, it gives us flame. LPG gas is again a combustion, a complete combustion is shown over here because it shows a very good calorific value which gives a very good combustion, even flame also. So these can be example. So fuels, what we are using to burn these things, let me discuss that also. The substance that undergoes combustion is said to be combustible, means which is easy to burn, that is called combustible. It is called fuel. Yes, which can be combustible, that is called fuel. And fuel consists in three states, that is solid, liquid, and gas. The first case that we have discussed, that in a combustible substance, I told you LPG, wood, and liquid, if you talk about kerosene and all. So all combined will form a fuel. But now we are going to talk them differently one by one, that is solid, liquid, and gases. So first we'll talk about solid fuel. This is for your general knowledge, bete. I know that it's a simple thing, but you must know that. So first one is solid fuels. Solid fuels involves wood, cow dung cakes, charcoal, coal. So they are having a very good calorific value, and they are the most common solid fuels. Next is liquid fuel. First can be kerosene, that is used in the stoves. Hydrogen cylinders are used in many purposes, even in the cars also. Ethanol and petrol, diesel, all these are the liquid fuels. We are well aware with their uses. Next is gaseous fuel. Gaseous fuels involve LPG gas cylinders, which we are using at home. CNG, we are using it in the vehicles. Biogas plants are also used for the domestic purpose, and coal gas is also being used for industrial purposes. Next is nuclear reactors. All these combustible substances are evolved in it when we are burning some gases, like in the presence of heat and light. It gives a lot of nuclear reactions which is going to take place, which even give us a heat and light even. So before going to ignition temperature, let's start again what is the combustion with a running video. Let's go ahead and continue with the combustion. We'll revise this again. What is combustion? Combustion is the burning of substance in the presence of air is known as combustion. When a substance is burned, it produces carbon dioxide and energy in the form of heat. That is called combustion. So this is the definition that you have to remember. Next, in combustion can be produced by burning it. and lot of carbon dioxide is involved, and lot of energy is also formed. When we are burning the carbon or coal, and when it is added with oxygen, CO2 is evolved, plus a lot of heat is evolved. So some are combustible materials and non-combustible materials you can see over here. Paper, wood, kerosene, diesel, petrol, all these are combustible materials. So you can material which can burn easily are combustible, and the material which cannot burn easily are non-combustible substances such as glass, metal, ceramics. So let us take an activity, demonstrate the process of combustion. I've taken a magnesium ribbon and I've hold it with the tongue and I'm putting it on the flame. What will happen? It will start burning with a white ash leaving behind it. In the watch glass I've collected, but it gave a lot of heat and light. Once again I'll burn coal. It give again a heat and light on burning. And it shows a complete combustion which giving in result CO2 gas and heat. So this can be a very good example of combustion. So when we are burning and using these good fuels, what should the values should be there? Like low ignition temperature should be there, it's easily available, high calorific value, cheap and easy to transport, leave any residue, and no pollution should be there. Right? Then it is a very good fuel or can show every good property. Let's take an activity once again. I have taken few products you can see on the screen. So first I am going to take one by one. I have just taken these substances in our list, that is raw matchsticks, kerosene oil, paper, iron nails. First let me take the straw. When I burn it, it will completely burn. If I take kerosene oil, definitely it will burn. And if I'm taking paper, it will burn again. But if I take iron nail, it will not burn. And if I'll take stone pieces, they will not burn. Even glass won't burn, ceramic won't burn. So from this activity is very clear that what are combustible substances and which are not. With the one stroke they are burning. They are straw, kerosene oil, paper, and iron nail stone pieces are not burning. So they are non-combustible substance. I think it is very much clear from this activity to you all. Okay, let's talk about further. Straw and iron nails combustible and non-combustible is very much clear. Now condition required for combustion. Presence of a combustible substances like ignition temperature should be there. The attainment of a correct temperature for ignition should be there. And the supporter for oxygen should be provided. Then only the fire is going to be burned. So presence of supporter is oxygen. That can be proved within this activity. Let me take a candle. When I have lightened the candle, fix it on a table, put a glass chimney over the candle and rest it for a few wooden blocks in such a way that air can enter the chimney. Right? I have pasted in this manner. Now air is going to come out from this wooden block that I have kept over it. Now you will notice that when the air does not enter the chimney from below, the flame sticks and produce smoke. And finally a glass plate over the chimney and the watch the flame again. Now see it again. I am covering it up, it's top, and no more oxygen level is going to be added in it. Now whatever the oxygen was left behind, it is used to burn the flame, and after that it will stop burning because no more oxygen supply is there. That's proof that oxygen is required for burning. I've taken an iron plate, I've put in some wooden block inside it, and then I'll cover it up with a watch glass. What will happen? After a few seconds, the supply of oxygen will be cut off, and then the burning will be stopped automatically. We have not done anything, only we have cut off the oxygen supply. That's proof that oxygen is necessary for combustion. Ignition temperature. What is ignition temperature? Let me show you the activity first. I have taken a paper and a wooden block. I'll burn the paper. It will burn very easily and quickly and catches fire very easily. But wood will not catch fire easily with a matchstick. If I'll put some kerosene oil over it, then it can be burned very easily. You can see in the activity. So by this activity, we can conclude that different metals catch fire at different temperature. Thus, the minimum temperature at which a combustible substances catch fire is called ignition temperature. So let me talk about the definition that you have to learn. A lowest temperature at which a substances catch fire is called its ignition temperature. Like matchstick burn in a first stroke, so its ignition temperature is low. The fire block's ignition temperature is again low. But lower than that is the wooden shavings. Yes, the wooden shavings ignition temperature is lower than the wood. Because wooden shavings can be burned in one stroke, but the wood cannot be broken in one stroke. And even the straw can be burned very easily, so its ignition temperature is again very low. So let me talk about this. The ignition temperature of different substances can be learned very easily. So the students are asking, that's why I have given this, that ignition temperature levels. If we talk about white phosphorus, that is even used in the matchsticks also, bache, that is 35 degrees Celsius is the lowest temperature. Petrol 346 degrees Celsius, where the ignition temperature is. Kerosene 240 degrees Celsius. That means kerosene will burn earlier than the petrol. Diesel 210 degrees Celsius. Wood is 300 degrees Celsius. Coal is 454 degrees Celsius. And a piece of paper is 233 degrees Celsius. Now you can get an idea from this that how fast the white forest can be burned. That's why these matchsticks can be burned in one stroke. Yeah, because matchstick can be burned very easily due to this white phosphorus. Okay. Let's start one more activity with it. I've taken a paper. Then make 2 fold cups by folding a sheet of paper. Fill 50 ml of water in one of the cup and now heat both the cups separately with a candle. What you will observe? You'll observe that after some time, what will happen? Paper will burn instantly. It catch up the fire very easily. But it becomes hot and the water in the cup absorbs the heat and distributes it all over the part that holds it. So it will not burn. So in the presence of water, the water does not attain its ignition temperature, hence it does not burn. But this activity we can conclude that the substance having a very low ignition temperature can catch us very easily and therefore are called flammable substances. So from these activities we come to know that the fire is very flammable. So we should control it. How we can control this? So when any street, we used to call fire brigade, of course, if the fire catches fire in the house or somewhere in the factories and offices. What the fire brigade do? It pour water on the fire and water cools the combustible substances so that its temperature is brought below its ignition temperature so that the fire can be stopped. And this prevents the fire from spreading, and water vapors also support the combustible material and helping in cutting off the supply of air. So fire is extinguished and everything become okay. So this is all about how to control a fire if it is exerted on buildings or in any houses. So first moral choices, call the fire brigade, which give the fire and stops. But every time we cannot use fire. If it is an electric appliance, we cannot use fire because water is a good conductor of electricity. And in the petrol pumps also, if it cuts with the fire, we cannot use water to stop it. So for fire appliances, including equipments, inflammable materials like petrol, carbon dioxide is the best extinguisher. Like if we're talking about some petroleum and all, so go with CO2 cylinders, right? That are fire extinguisher cylinders. They can only help when some electric fire is applied or some petrol or diesel is burning. To cut off that, we have to add some CO2 fire extinguishers. which is stored at a high pressure in these cylinders and which can release the CO2 and expands all over it. So it is not only for a blanket around the fire but also bring about the temperature of the fuel. That's why it is excellent for fire extinguishers. Okay. Now let's take it in certain cases if we find that the natural process of oxidation is quite low. For example, when iron is exposed to air, we get corroded and forms rust, that is called iron oxide. That the reaction you even know, that is Fe2O3 can be formed. So burning of sodium in oxygen is take place, as we know that it catches fire easily. That's why it is kept in kerosene, so that it will not catch fire, right? So sodium will react with oxygen. That's why we are keeping it in the kerosene. Now you can see the paper is burned in a one stroke only, right? Like when a combustible material burns quickly, this process is called rapid combustion. Now we are coming to know this type of combustions. We'll take them one by one. First is rapid combustion. When a combustible materials burns quickly, this process is called rapid combustion, like burning of the paper, burning of LPG gases. All these come under rapid combustion. Next is, of course, LPG, CNG cylinders you can see also. Now explosion. Explosion, when a combustible substance burns very rapidly with the explosion of tremendous heat and light, like in very in a large quantity heat is there, and with the sound energy is there, then it is called explosion, right? So it's come under the explosion combustion. Next we will take them. So few topics we have covered. That rapid combustion I have shown you, that is instant burning of the paper. Explosion I have shown you that firecrackers are come under explosion. Now let's talk about this again one by one. So rapid combustion, what we have to write in rapid combustion? The combustion in which substance burn rapidly and produce heat and light, that is called rapid combustion, like burning of white phosphorus. Don't go with the matchstick, go with white phosphorus, because we know that in matchstick white phosphorus and red phosphorus is there, and both are having a rapid combustion type property, right? Next, let's take about the spontaneous combustion. It's new for you. A type of combustion in which a material suddenly bursts into flames without the application of any apparent cause is called spontaneous combustion. That means it is burning constantly, like forest fire. Yes, once it is caught, it is not going to be stopped. Fossil fuel burning. Fossil fuel burning, it is not going to be stopped. So these are spontaneous combustion which are keep on burning. I think I'm clear with these examples. Okay, so you can see this forest fire caused by spontaneous combustion is a very good example, and burning of coal mines, if it is caught, then it becomes very uncomfortable for them to control this fire, because it is a very good example of spontaneous combustion. Next explosion that we have done, I have told you in the firecrackers, burning of firecrackers, a sudden reaction that takes place with the evolution of heat, light and sound. When the large amount of gas is formed and this reaction is liberated, means released, we can say. Such a reaction is called explosion reactions. Okay. Next will be slow combustion. This is not in your syllabus, but I'll tell you because it supports this question. So what is slow combustion? A type of combustion which takes place at the slow rate, at slow temperature, is called slow combustion. Like respiration, the process which is going to take place in our body, that is a very good example of slow combustion. Rusting of iron, we know that rusting of iron takes place, Fe2O3, ferric oxide is formed. How it is formed? Again, it is a very good example of slow combustion. It takes supports. What supports? It supports the moisture plus air, which gives the rust of the iron. So it takes a long process to get rusted, so it is a slow combustion. Now what is flame? Before going to flame, let's start first inflammable substances. Then we will go to flame. So the substance which has very low ignition temperature can easily catch fire with the flame is called flammable substances. The substances which has very low ignition temperature, जिनका बहुत कम temperature होता है, and then can catch fire with a flame, that is called inflammable substances like petrol, alcohol, LPG, CNG. All these are very good examples, right? Okay. How can fire be extinguished? We have discussed earlier also. So what we have to do in these steps, that fire can be extinguished, like for removing these inflammable substances, what we have to do, remove the combustible substance, right? Inflammable substances has to be removed and cut off the oxygen supply. Reduce the temperature of the fuel below its ignition temperature, then only the fire can be stopped. So now let's start what is flame. A flame is a visible, gaseous part of a fire. It causes a highly exothermic reactions taking place in this zone. Some flames are enough to have ionized gases component of sufficient density to be considered plasma. However, a candle flame which has a temperature below than 500 degrees Celsius produces too low as ion density to be considered a plasma. Let me discuss you all this about what it is. But a flame is exothermic reaction first of all. Why exothermic? You can see this fire picture that can be seen, right? We can observe it, we can see that, we can feel that. That's why they are called exothermic reaction, means they are liberated out. That's why they are called exothermic reactions. We can feel them. Now these flames we are talking about, they are having a different ions inside them, different gases inside them, which having different density to show that their flame level. So let's take it in detail. Substances which give out flame. The substance which vaporize during combustible give flames. For example, kerosene, wax, burn with the flame. Yes, whereas charcoal burn with the flame, but does not vaporize, so do not produce a flame. If we are burning charcoal, on the other hand, does not vaporize. If it does not vaporize, it is not going to produce flame, but it will burn. Right? So this is the little bit difference. Now let's take it type of flame, where which part is to be known, which part, like we have to learn it, right? If you're drawing a diagram, you must know that. Okay. First, let me take the wax candle marked as 1. And after that, I will mark it the first point from where the waxes start burning. That is the innermost zone of the unburned wax vapors. That is being black. Next, I am taking it the least hot. The least hot is this part, which is very close to this black part, that is unburnt wax. Next will be the middle zone of partial combustion, which pretends to be yellow. Right? After that, it is moderately hot also in that part. Like after this least hot, which is very near to the flame, that is the innermost one, it is the least hot. And if you are talking about the middle zone, it is moderately hot. And when we are talking about the hottest part, which is the hottest part, bache? The outermost zone of the complete combustion. Outermost zone of the complete combustion is the hottest one, which pretends to be blue. So this is the figure of the candle which is flaming here with 3 partitions. First is innermost, next is middle, and third is outer one. So when inner we are talking about, it is least hot, and when we are talking about middle one, then it is moderately hot, and if we are talking about its tip, then it is the hottest part. So if you put a finger near this part, it will not burn. But if you put a finger over here, definitely it will burn. Right? So let's take it. A goldsmith, what he used to perform. Goldsmith blow outermost zone of the flame with a metallic blowpipe for melting of gold and silver, because that is the hottest part. That's why he need a very good flame to burn the gold and silver, because their melting point is very high and they need the hottest part. That's why they are using the tip. Let's talk about the calorific value. I have discussed you earlier in this topic that the substance which are having a very good fuel must have a very good calorific value. So let me discuss what is it. The amount of heat energy produced a complete combustion of 1 kg of fuel, that is called calorific value. Right? So the calorific value of a fuel is expressed in a unit called kilojoule per kg. Means on a per kg, kilojoule is burned. That is the amount of heat energy that is being produced per kg of fuel when it is burning, whether it is coal, whether it is wood. Right? So the substances which is showing a very good heat energy is having a very good calorific value. So let me discuss the calorific value. According to this chart, you can take and write it them also. You can make a screenshot also to learn it, and it is very important from the exam point of view also, and it will increase your vocabulary. Fuel, let's talk about calorific value is always written in kilojoule per kg. Don't always remember this unit. So cow dung, if you're talking about, it is 6,000 to 8,000, and wood is 17,000 to 22,000. If you're talking about coal, it is 25,000 to 33,000, and it is keep on increasing when we are going down, like petrol, kerosene, diesel and methane gases, and keep on increasing in CNG gas, and then to LPG, then biomass, and then hydrogen. So hydrogen cylinders are even used in the jets also, because it shows the highest calorific value from all these fuels. Okay. So, disadvantages of burning fuels now. Now we are burning, we have studied them, the inflammable substances, flammable substances, and even all about their calorific value. Let's stop them burning. What are the disadvantages of burning the fuels? We are burning them for our purposes, but we must know it. And it is very important also. Carbon fuel like wood, coal, petroleum release unburned carbon particles. These are pollutants. That means unburned carbon particles are pollutants that can cause a respiratory disease like asthma, bronchitis. Right? So incomplete combustion of these fuels give carbon monoxide gas, that is called CO, and it is very poisonous gas, can kill people who inhale this gas. One incident was happened last year that few workers have come from a hard work from full day, and they have taken a rest in a room. They have burned some piece of coal, and they closed all the windows and doors, and they slept over there. 7 workers are there, and no oxygen level is over there that is coming outside. So in this room, what is there? Only CO. CO is gas is there because it is released from the coal, and lot of carbon dioxide because they are exhaling out carbon dioxide. So due to the inhalation of this CO gas that is very poisonous, we are saying, they inhale it for a whole night. When we found that in the morning all these 7 labors are no more. The reason behind this is that the carbon dioxide gas is also only there and carbon monoxide gas is also over there, which is highly poisonous, and they didn't get the oxygen gas at all. Due to this incomplete combustion of coal, it leads to death. So this incident can be occur if you are not being be aware with this cause. So disadvantages of burning fuel. Combustion of most fuels release carbon dioxide in the environment, increases the concentration of this gas, and that leads to global warming also. Yes, we are quite aware with the topic global warming. So what is it? The global warming is the increasing the temperature of the earth's surface. How it is increased? Lot of fuels are burned. Lot of carbon dioxide is coming out, and due to the increased level of carbon dioxide, the environment get more hotter, the temperature become increases, which leads to the global warming, and global warming leads to the melting of icebergs, and due to which floods and tsunamis are appearing. Next one is burning of coal, diesel release the oxides of sulfur, because when the vehicle is exhaling out the smoke, in that smoke the sulfur oxide is there, nitrogen oxide is there, which dissolves in the rainwater and form in a form of acid rain. We have studied in the last class also what are acid rains. Acid rains are the first rain which come after the long summer season, where the sulfur, carbon monoxide, nitrogen and many other harmful gases are there in our environment due to the exhaling out of the factories and vehicles. In this rain along with come all these gases with them, which create the rain, acidic rain, and which is very harmful for the monuments, even for our skin, right? Global warming, I told you why it is arises, due to the, and due to it it's happened that the temperature rises of the earth, and it leads to the increase in the water level, and low coastal lying areas may even get submerged underwater due to this global warming, like due to this CO2 level has increased. Okay, so that's all for all merits and demerits of combustion and flame. I hope you understand this chapter very well. Kindly go through the book reading also. After seeing this video, it will help you to understand each and every line. Till then, thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Stay home.